Good day, everybody, and welcome to another edition of the Military and Foreign Affairs Network. I am your host, the voice of reason. Well, today on our map, we are going to start off today about 250 miles north by northwest of Moscow. Now, this is an extremely serious situation that is probably not getting very much news coverage here in the West. And as I've said before, ignorance is bliss. The uninformed urbanite will happily march towards World War III without any knowledge of that actually taking place. And that's what's happening right now. A major Russian munitions base located about 200 and 250 miles to the northwest of Moscow was attacked by the North Atlantic Treaty Organization. That's right, I said it. NATO. A Russian military base was attacked by the North Atlantic Treaty Organization. Now, the headlines will lead you to believe the following. Ukraine launches massive drone attack on military depot deep in Russia. Okay, so let's zoom in on this military base that is essentially 300 miles to the north of the Ukrainian border. 300 miles. And this is the military base. This is the arms depot. This depot is reportedly was designed to store and house Iskander semi-ballistic missiles, cruise missiles, thermal barrack munitions, a wide range of Russian munitions. And if you look to the east, southeast side of this base, you'll see approximately 30 hardened bunkers. To the north, berm-protected shelters, and then to the northwest, the older site. So you can see how large and sprawling this compound is, and you can clearly see the boxes of various different types of munitions and what have you being stored at this base. Now, the news is reporting that this attack was done by Ukrainian drones. So the average uninformed urbanite here in the United States, when you say drone, they're thinking of a quadcopter or some other type of prop-driven aircraft that would be used in this attack. So think about that for a second. And then look at the footage of the explosion that was caused by that attack. Was this attack caused by quadcopters and prop-driven aircraft? Probably not. Probably not. Most likely, this was a multifaceted operation involving both Ukrainian forces and assets from the North Atlantic Treaty Organization. Specifically, Storm Shadow and JASSM cruise missiles. In all probability, to cause the kind of damage that would lead to a series of explosions, the likes of which that you witnessed on X and other media platforms, that attack had to be done with some very advanced weapon systems. Not only weapon systems, but systems designed to jam Russian air defense systems and then launch said attack. Again, this is a massive military base with many hardened bunkers designed to hold very, very powerful munitions. Now, this attack was just not one drone hitting a stockpile of flammable ordnance or explosive ordnance and then causing a cascading effect. That is not what occurred in this attack. This was an attack that was designed to hit multiple aim points at one time. And that's what occurred. This was a very advanced operation. An operation unlikely to have been solely done by the Ukrainian armed forces. This attack has all the hallmarks of direct assistance by the North Atlantic Treaty Organization and quite possibly the United States. This was, make no mistake of it, this was a very valuable target that NATO and the Ukrainians struck. Very valuable. Now, how much of this base was destroyed? Difficult to say. Was the main explosion that some reports that had generated up to a 1 to 30 kiloton sized explosion. We've seen reports anywhere from 1.5 to almost 30 kilotons. That's the same as a tactical nuclear weapon or a nuclear weapon the size of what hit Hiroshima or Nagasaki in terms of the largest. If this explosion was in fact upwards to 30 kilotons, which some people are reporting that it may in fact have been of that size. Additionally, it caused an earthquake. It registered, I believe, 2.8 on the Richter scale. If you look at the detonation on X and wherever else you can find it, it is truly a massive explosion, much bigger than the explosion that occurred in Beirut, Lebanon. If you remember that explosion, this was much bigger. Go check it out. But again, headlines. And let's just look at the CBS article. Let's see what the CBS article actually, how they word this. Ukraine hits Russia with massive drone attack on military depot torpedoes, causing huge explosions. Ukrainian drones struck a large military depot in a town deep inside Russia overnight, causing a huge blaze and prompting the evacuation of some local residents. A Ukrainian official and Russian news report said Wednesday. The strike came after a senior U.S. diplomat said Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky recently announced, but still confidential, plan to win the war can work and help end the conflict that's now in its third year. Now, look, we know what that plan was. That plan is direct NATO intervention. That plan is a series of deep penetration strikes by North Atlantic Treaty, United States weapon systems, Storm Shadows, JASSMs against targets deep inside of Russia. The F-16s, the conversion of Su-24s and MiG-29s to be able to launch these weapon systems, plausible deniability. Plausible deniability. So the question at this point, was it just advanced Western cruise missiles, low observable cruise missiles that took part in this strike? Or were there actual Western aircraft? Were multi-role stealth aircraft involved in this strike on this very important Russian military base? Let's continue. Ukraine claimed the strike destroyed military warehouses and torpedoed a town in Russia's Tver region, about 240 miles northwest of Moscow and 300 miles from the border with Ukraine. And then, let's see here. The attack was carried out by Ukraine's security service, along with Ukraine's intelligence and special operations forces, a Kiev security official told the Associated Press. Speaking on condition of anonymity, to discuss the operation. According to the official, the depot housed Iskander and Tocha-U missiles, as well as glide bombs and artillery shells. He said the facility caught fire in the strike and was burning across an area 4 miles wide. Okay. Right. No. This was not just a Ukrainian drone strike. Absolutely not. Even if they were able to get through the Russian air defense network and strike one of these open areas where artillery munitions were stored in the open, that size of an explosion that you witnessed would not have occurred because of that type of strike. Again, multiple aim points, very large weapon systems, stealthy weapon systems were used in this attack. Undoubtedly. So I just wanted to show you, the viewer, this base. I think most of the uninformed urbanites in the United States just think of this big warehouse that was probably storing Russian munitions, and that warehouse was struck. That is not what this was. This is a purpose-built facility that has hardened shelters designed to protect these munitions from a amateur type of strike. Even if they did strike these open areas, again, it would not have caused that kind of explosion. It would cause an explosion, but again, you have berms around these sites that would prevent the cascading effects of a blast wave. And more importantly, the hardened shelters. Were the hardened shelters hit in this strike? And we'll have to get additional satellite information to see exactly what this base looks like post-strike. I'm wondering if we'll even have that ability to see that information, because that information will give us a better idea of the weapon systems that were used, and was this some sort of amateur-style Ukrainian attack using rudimentary drones, or was this something much more insidious in terms of the use of precision-guided weapons of Western manufacture? Now, additionally, I wanted to bring up what is also in the news right now, and we're still watching this happen, we're still watching this unfold, was the pager attack that occurred in Lebanon. Thousands of pagers and walkie-talkies have detonated across Lebanon, killing and wounding thousands of Hezbollah fighters. Now look, some people are saying that the Israelis had some sort of technology to induce the lithium-ion batteries to detonate. And another train of thought is that the Israeli intelligence service, the Mossad, had essentially created a company that was producing and shipping these to Hezbollah, and they had placed small amounts of high explosive, plastic explosive, in these systems. Either way, if the Israelis have the ability to make your cell phone or your pager or your walkie-talkie explode and possibly kill you, that's frightening. And I don't even know what's more frightening. Do they have now the ability to create companies where they can ship these devices that have plastic explosives already built inside of them? And thousands of these systems detonated across Lebanon. unbelievable. I mean, it really is. I mean, it has me looking at my cell phone right now. I'm like wondering, okay, what's in my phone? Jeez. Good gracious. I tell you what, man. Anyway, but that story is still developing, and as we speak, more walkie-talkies, pagers, and different communication systems are detonating all across Syria, Lebanon, possibly Iran, as we speak. Right now, I believe it's in excess of 3,000 devices, communications devices, have detonated. Press of a button, boom. Unbelievable. Now, that's a big story. It's probably a bigger story in terms of the mainstream media right now than what happened in Russia. But right now, I can tell you that this attack that took place deep inside of Russia upon this military base storing very valuable weapon systems, there's going to be a Russian response. There's going to be a Russian response to this strike, guaranteed. Now, what that's going to look like, difficult to say at this point, but it's safe to say that a tactical nuclear weapon-sized explosion occurred northwest of Moscow. So how are the Russians going to respond? We'll see. As always, thank you for joining us. More to come very soon. As always, have a good day.